There's just no closure. I feel like if I just had the answers and the closure, then I would be able to move on. Does any of this sound familiar at all? If it does, then you are in the right place. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the You Deserve Better podcast. Today, we are diving into something that I know, not only through my one-to-one clients, but my DMs, that so many of you have felt this after a breakup. It is that ache for closure. It's that feeling of, if I just had some sort of explanation, if they could just say that they're sorry, if I could understand why, then I could move on. But you know what? This is the truth. You absolutely do not need their closure. You can give that to yourself. Needing closure is one of the most common things that people struggle with after a breakup or the end of any chapter, to be honest. And it's so human to want to understand. It's human to crave answers, to want to make sense of something that hurt us. So the fact that you're feeling this way, I just want to validate you by saying you are a human being, and it's totally normal and totally understandable that you do crave that closure, that you want those answers, that you need that explanation in order to move on. And I'm saying all of this, by the way, from someone that has been there too and never got my closure, or at least didn't get it from the other person who I wanted to have it from, and had to give it to myself. So today in this episode, I want to help you see closure in a completely different way. And it's a way in which the closure doesn't depend on anybody else but you. You're in control here. You have the power. You're able to make that decision, that choice. You can give yourself the closure. I know that this episode is going to be so beneficial to so many of you, and I hope that you love it, because I know that I wish I had this kind of episode that I'm going to share with you today for myself. But here's my opportunity to share it with you. And so here goes. I already said that it's totally human, totally normal, totally understandable to crave closure, okay? So that's a fact. It's completely understandable and it makes us humans. But why? Why is there such a need for this closure? Where does it come from? And to be honest, the need for closure simply comes from a need for control. And it's a need to feel safe and understand. Essentially basic standards, expectations and needs that we do have as human beings. We need to feel safe. We need to feel like we have an element of control over our lives, over our paths, our direction, over our day-to-day existence. And of course, we need to understand what the heck's going on. You know, it seems so basic from that perspective, doesn't it? And our brains sort of crave this completion, so to speak. It's like an unfinished story, isn't it? You have to finish the book. You have to finish the series. Or it's that text that you never receive or that you never send. It's like there's always that what if or what happened. It's questioning everything. And that's what makes you go down the whole route of shoulda, woulda, couldas. And if only, you know, there's so many different paths or trajectories or options that could have happened here. So when you've not got definitive answers, it leaves everything kind of just there, just like in the middle of a series. It's like when Netflix series ends on a cliffhanger, and then rather than moving on to the next episode, it goes to, and what's up next, because the series is finished, and you were like, what the heck? I have to wait another year to get the answers. Like it's the same kind of thing. Now with breakups, it triggers that exact same need. So we will find ourselves in these situations if we've not got that closure from that person. So And some of these you will 100% relate to, replaying the final conversation that you had with someone over and over and over again. Was it this? Was it what I was wearing? Was it what I said? Is it because this happened? Was I in a mood? Could I have changed something, Analysing texts. What did that message mean? Or what did he mean when he said this? Or could I have worded myself better? Questioning yourself, questioning the person, over analysing a text in depth when really it doesn't tell you anything at all, does it? And of course, finally, it's that hoping and praying for one more message, because it would give us that illusion of control. So when we're kind of left in the lurch, and this brings it back to like ghosting or breadcrumbing and things like that, it's the same kind of thing. We've discussed this on previous episodes, when you're kind of waiting for a text back or waiting to see if they'll show with flowers and gifts and make it all okay again. Hoping they'll turn up at the door and beg for you back, or call you and plead with you and tell you how amazing you are, all things like that. When we're hoping for that finality of something, when we're hoping for just one more or just something, it gives us that illusion of control, because we're kind of replaying all the different options that could happen. But when we're doing all this, when we're replaying all these conversations, rereading all the texts, going back in time again and again and questioning everything and wondering if it could be different, what are we doing there? We're waiting for this closure, which is just keeping us stuck emotionally on the past, on something that happened, is been and gone, and we're not there anymore. Is keeping us stuck to the past. So more examples, checking the profile, checking the stories, or if they've viewed your stories, asking what if, or should I just say this, or maybe if I did this, or should I reach out? And that's just going to keep on coming. You're always going to be wondering if you can have just that one last conversation that will make it make sense. You're seeking it, you're longing for it, and you keep on going back there, and it is keeping you so stuck to the past. And I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to be so real with you that often, if we did get that conversation, it still wouldn't give us what we're really looking for. That one last conversation, you'd still come away with questions that you want answering, or there'll be more what ifs that come to mind, or more doubts and scarcity. It wouldn't give us what we're truly looking for. Looking back on my personal experiences and how I wanted closure, so of course, I've been very open and honest about when my husband left me. It was just this random night, a Monday, I believe it was just some random Monday in January of 2020. And he was a bit funny with me that day, when he was leaving. I knew that something was off. I messaged him that day, asked if everything was okay. He told me no, and that we would talk tonight. Of course, I was happily married to this guy, so never once thought that it would be what it was. I thought he was just going through a hard time, or needed my support, whatever. And literally sat me down and told me he wanted a separation, that night. And there was never another woman, or at least not that I know. He did get into a relationship suspiciously fast after that, considering we was in COVID 2 months later, in lockdowns and things like that. But hey ho, I'll never know. And frankly, I don't want to. But as far as I know, there was no other woman. He said I'd not done anything wrong. He'd not done anything wrong. Nothing detrimental had happened. We'd not been having arguments. We'd still been having sex. Like, there was nothing that could have predicted this. A few months prior, I should point out, a few months prior, he did leave for a few days. He went back to his parents because he was going through a hard time mentally with his own business that was struggling and things like that. And he was really going through the ringer with it. But in terms of our relationship, we were trying for a baby. I'd just booked us to go to Iceland for February, for Valentine's. So I'd got him that for a Christmas present. And we were looking ahead for a beautiful year ahead and lots of exciting plans and things like that. So yeah, I never got the answers. And, I begged for some sort of answers. I'm like, well, what is it? Like, oh, can we not go to therapy? Do you not want to try and make this work? Like, why would you not want, like, you don't just marry someone and then because you're going through a hard time, right? See ya, and that be it. Like, I craved answers so much in this situation, and I never got them. Even further down the line, all that he was to say to me when we met up a few weeks later and a few months later was all just very much, simply that the love wasn't there anymore. He didn't feel the same. It was as simple as that, which to me, I'm sorry, but they are not answers, not for a marriage. Maybe if you're dating someone and you get the ick, yeah, but a long-term relationship, a marriage, a commitment, I just don't feel the same anymore. I'm off. Like, they are not answers, and that was not closure. And I never, ever, ever got it from him. But it's funny because, when I look back, I remember saying to people, and this is really interesting, and I don't know what you'll take of this, but I'm sure some of you will 100% relate. But there was a part of me that I remember saying to people at the time, I almost wish he'd have cheated on me. Or that he'd done something really horrendous that I was like, yeah, do you know what? I don't want to be with you anyway. Do you know? Or I remember, and this is really deep, and I brought this up many a times in therapy as well, where there was a part of me that thought it would have been easier if he had have actually died. Now, I know that sounds horrendous, but that would have almost been the closure, if that makes sense, because he wouldn't have chosen to leave. It wouldn't have been his choice. I would have still been equally devastated, but he would have left me through circumstances that were outside both of our control, and it would have been horrendous. But it was just this choice and this decision to just get up and leave that I found hard, and it's because I didn't have the closure. It all boils back to that. I needed answers. I needed to know what I'd done wrong or whether I could make it right. And I feel that there was a part of me that feels like it would have been easier in another way. And I don't know. The truth is, I will never know, because he didn't cheat on me and he didn't die. And I don't know. And it makes you question, doesn't it? Because if that had have happened, you'd again be questioning otherwise. Well, I wish he'd have just gotten up and gone and left me, So sometimes we focus too much on what we want to gain from something or how we want to feel, rather than the actual event in itself, if that makes sense. And I guess through all of this and what I was hoping to feel and how I wanted to live and how, eventually I just wanted to move on regardless, the fact that I didn't have these answers, it's like, well, if I want to feel a certain way, I realised, that closure, it's obviously not going to come from him. It can't come from him. It's not going to. It doesn't. It comes from us. If I'm so focused on how I want to feel from this closure, then surely that comes from me. And that's the thing, when we're seeking closure, we are actually seeking how we want to feel. And that is where we have the power, we have the choice, we can make the decision. And that is it. That is it. Closure, it is not a conversation that you can have, because it's going to be a never-ending conversation. It's not going to be a text message. It's not going to be a phone call. It's not going to be a face-to-face conversation. Whatever they do, say, whatever you do or say, or anything that goes on between you both after a relationship ends, the closure won't come from that. The closure comes from your decision to give yourself the closure. It's the moment that you decide you don't actually need their version of the story, or their reasons why, or their explanation, or to understand them in any way. It's the moment you decide to honour your own story and give yourself the closure that you seek. At the end of the day, when we're seeking closure from this other person and wanting those answers and things like that, if we're not careful, all it actually does is reopens the wounds, because we're going back to maybe issues within the relationship or something that maybe one of you did wrong or not, but either way, whether you get those answers or not, it's just reopening the wounds. It's just scrubbing dirt into them. It's just inflicting more and more pain rather than actually healing them in any way. Whatever answers you get, whether good or bad, it's not going to heal the wound. It just keeps on aggravating it. And that's where often we get stuck, isn't it? In that illusion of closure versus real closure. So the illusion that many of us get stuck in, myself included, is waiting for answers, replaying scenarios. So that's your illusion. Because it could go in any which way, shape or form. And our minds love to play tricks on us, don't they? And give us all these different scenarios in our minds. But real closure, that's acceptance, letting go, and peace without all the answers. So who can give you that acceptance? Who can give you that letting go? Who can give you that peace without all the answers? That's you. That's you, and that's real closure. That's you giving yourself closure. You might never, ever, ever know or find out or learn or even begin to try and understand why they stopped loving you, why they stopped trying, why they no longer want to be a part of your life, why they couldn't love you the way that you loved them, or be the person that, let's be honest, that they showed that they were at the start of the relationship. You might never know or get that. You might never get that, but you can still choose peace. And that is where the power shift comes in, because every time that we stop chasing the answers, we stop trying to reason with them, understand them, or do anything we can to feel better from what they say or what they can give us. When we stop chasing all of that, we take our power back. We're the ones in control. We have the power. No one gets to decide when you are free and when you can start your next chapter and when you can move on. You do. You do. This is actually getting me a little bit emotional, because I just know, honestly, I cannot tell you how many DMs I get or how many clients I work with, and closure is just so huge, and it's holding so many people back. And I just hope if someone's listening to this and just they have that light bulb moment, that line in the sand moment where they can give themselves that closure and to just move on. God, that's all I want. That is literally all I want. So yeah, I really hope that this is helping in some way. I really do. And as always, if you need any further support, encouragement, or even just someone rooting for you in the DMs, please reach out. I'm always here. I love chatting with you guys. I love giving you little tips and tricks. I could point you in the right direction. I, of course, have my one-to-one container. I'm here for you. I want to give this to you because you deserve it. You deserve it. Stop wasting weeks, months, years of your life waiting for an answer that you can give yourself. Yeah? And so on that note, if closure is something that we can choose, as we have decided that it is, well, how do we actually do that then? Yeah? The all-important part. This is what you need. This is what you need. How am I going to give myself closure then? It's all right, Becky, showing up, saying all this shit. I get it. But how? Where do I even start? I don't know. Help me. Well, girl, I got you. I got you. I'm going to try and break this down as much as possible into different steps so we can just take it step by step. It's not just some big switch, although it would be easier if it was, wouldn't it? But let's be honest, nothing is, and it does take time. And even with this, it's not just one day of applying these steps and you're on to a winner. You are onto a winner, but it's going to take more than a day. It may even take more than a week, but you can still make that decision and you can start taking those steps and applying these actions to give yourself that closure and move on. I think the first step has to be acceptance. Once you finally have that acceptance, well, the only way is up from there, isn't it? Because the acceptance is probably the hardest bit because it plays with your ego. It bruises your ego. It pains your heart. It's the hardest thing. But I think once you've got past that, the only way is up. So yeah, just step number 1, acceptance. So that means stop arguing with the reality. Yeah? Accept it. And by that, it doesn't mean approving of it. You don't need to approve of it in any way, especially if it wasn't a mutual decision or there's any bad blood or whatever. You do not need to approve of it, but you can still accept it. It's acknowledging it for what it is, whether that be good, bad, neutral, whatever. It's accepting it for what it is, and it's accepting the fact that it's ended. It fucking hurts. It certainly didn't go the way that I hoped. And that's okay. I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm living. I'm breathing. It's okay. And while I don't approve of it, I accept that this is where I'm at right now. Yeah, and as part of acceptance, it's also, encouraging that self-talk, that positive, gentle self-talk with yourself. So, I don't have to keep replaying these memories. I don't have to keep trying to rewrite this ending. I don't have to keep analysing these messages. Like, what is it really doing for me? Is it making me feel any better? No, well, don't then. Yeah, let's stop and do something else that makes me feel better. Another good thing to do as part of acceptance is actually you can do a little reflection, so journaling, just a short exercise of reflection, of writing down what happened, maybe in the lead up to it or on the day, whatever comes to mind. As I always say, as soon as you put pen to paper, even though your mind may draw a blank, your subconscious writes for you, so it will all come out. But write down what happened, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, without sugarcoating it or, being in fantasy land or anything like that. Literally writing down all of the facts. Yeah? So that's really, really powerful. Is step 1 is just learning, just being in a state of acceptance that this is the way it is. I may not like it. This may be hard, but this is the way that it is. And I accept that this is where I'm at. And like I said before, if this is the worst it's going to get, the only way is up right now. Yeah. Which leads me on to step number 2, and that's grieving. And also grieving without waiting for permission or for apologizing for your feelings and for being sad over something that, sucks. And of course, you're going to be sad about it. A lot of people, again, and this just brings it back to waiting for closure, a lot of people actually delay their healing because they're still waiting for that apology or that explanation, or what if they come back, or this is that. All you're doing is you're delaying your healing. You're delaying your new chapter. You're delaying moving on, getting over it, creating your freaking incredible life. Yeah? Don't delay healing waiting for this. You could still be cracking on with that. And you may get some sort of explanation down the line, and that's fine. But either way, you're working on yourself, and that's your priority right now. Also, I think it's really important to note, because a lot of relationships that do end, let's be honest, they do end often because they're broken. It's very, very rare that relationships end and then the couple get back together and live happily ever after. Amen. Some relationships that does happen, years and years and years down the line, they come back together almost like two completely different people, and it works out just beautifully. So I'm not, saying it never happens, and it does, and that's fine. But generally speaking, relationships do end because they are broken, or there was something wrong with it, or whatever. Even if you had a beautiful relationship, I'm sure you'll still find flaws. But I think it's important to consider that, say it was a really unhappy relationship, or there was a lot of toxic dynamics, or even just the fact that it wasn't perfect and there was things that you didn't like, you can still grieve for that. You can grieve. You are allowed to grieve for something even if it wasn't perfect. Yeah, even if you have chosen to walk away, you could be listening to this episode right now and it's you that chose to walk away, but you still don't have the closure because actually you don't know why you left them. You just knew that something wasn't right and you had to go, and you was trusting your gut. But that doesn't make it any easier. Sometimes that can be really, really hard. I've had to end a relationship. I've spoken about it before. The toxic relationship that I was in, it was fucking awful. I was incredibly miserable, but it was so hard to end. I mean, it sounds ridiculous me speaking about it now. Like, why was it so difficult to just fucking kick this guy to the curb? And I hated it. I hated the relationship. I was happier on my own. And I knew that, and yet still I stayed. And a lot of it's fear, don't get me wrong. But anyway, I digress. But even if you are the one that has chosen to end this relationship, that has chosen to leave, walk away, if there was a lot wrong with it, you can still grieve. You can still be sad. And again, journaling. I highly encourage journaling, because just let your subconscious lead the way, give you the answers, give you that clarity, give you that closure that you are seeking. Definitely journaling is huge, and with that, let yourself cry, scream, write it all down, put pen to paper and have that release. Move your body, shake your body, whatever it takes to get out of this constant mind games that are going on in your head right now, this never-ending loop that's just sending you stir crazy. So get it all out of your system. And I think finally, another important point to make about step 2 of grieving, and that is that grief is not being weak. Grief is actually important. It is important. It is essential to release these emotions. I say this time and time and time again. When we store our emotions, when we brush them under the carpet, when we dampen things down, I'll get over it, it's okay, and toxic positivity. And I'm saying this again because I've been there, but all it does is it stores in our body. It's going to come out eventually, so we might as well do it now. Grief is not a weakness. Crying is not a weakness. Let it out as soon. And crying also isn't a sign that, I thought I'd moved on from this. I thought I was over this. No, you just peeled back another layer. Crying is healing. Grieving is healing. You're actually doing the work. So well done. Congratulate yourself for crying. Be proud of yourself for crying. It is your body's way of clearing all of this space for new beginnings. Be proud of it. Okay, so we've accepted, we've grieved, and now it's time to rewrite the story. Step number 3, we're going to rewrite our story. So ask yourself, this is a point that you can get to where you can start asking yourself, what has this experience taught me? What have I learned? How have I grown? What have I learned about what I will and won't accept? Whether that be in a relationship or in life, what do I want for myself? What have I learned about myself from this situation? And there will be so much. And again, as always, this is not about being hard on yourself, about everything that you did wrong, or even that person. It's not about being bitter or anything, but what have you learned? And with that, it's really important to kind of reframe things. So, instead of saying, they left me, they just left me. It's life, right? Life has redirected me. I said this a lot, obviously, because my husband left me. But it came to a point where I was able to shift that into he set me free. And I hand on heart believe that. He set me free. And I'm so fucking thankful for that every single day, because clearly I didn't have the courage to set myself free. And I just, succumbed to this life, which, yes, again, I was extremely happy in, by the way. But actually what I've learned is that I was made for so much more. I had to experience so much more. My purpose was so much more. My soul's mission, everything that I have had to achieve, that would never have happened. None of this would ever have happened. And for that, I believe it was fated. And he had to set me free. And I'm so grateful of that. So, again, instead of being, I've just been abandoned. I've been abandoned. It's like I was released so I could meet myself again, learn who I am, explore me, my life, the world. You get to decide what this next chapter means now. You are in control. You are in the driver's seat. You have the power. You get to decide what comes next on your story, not them. And there's a huge power in that. There's a huge power in, rather than everything that's, this is the end now. What if this? What about that? Am I going to be alone forever? They've just left. Everyone leaves me. I'm lonely. It's, oh my gosh. There's this blank page of this incredible story that I am about to create. And how amazing is that? As I say all of this, I really want to be mindful that I know it's not that easy. I'm sure that some of you are listening thinking, yeah, it's all right you saying that, 5.5 years down the line. And that is true. I don't deny that. And these steps, they are tough. They are really, really tough. But with time, you will learn to believe it. Even what you're doing now in listening to this podcast, these are all ways in which you are accepting, grieving, rewriting the story. You're doing the work, so just continue to do the work, and it will. If you are listening to this podcast, if you are putting in the work, you're already at the start of that new chapter, I would say, because you're actually wanting to improve, you're wanting to get better, you are wanting to move on, you are wanting to create a better reality. Because otherwise you'd just be laying in your bed, crying all day, not speaking to anyone, not accepting any support, not journaling, not questioning things, your mindset, perspective shifts, things like that, So I believe you're already at the start of this chapter. Okay, so just know that it's not easy, but you are doing it. You are getting there. We're rewriting our story. How about reclaiming our energy? Step number 4, reclaim your energy. What do I mean by that? Well, how much energy goes into a relationship? How much of your energy do you have to put into a relationship? And rightly so, by the way, of course. But how much of your energy goes into that? And now it's all yours. How much energy goes into the breakup and the dwelling and the grieving, the sadness, the hurt, the pain? But now you can take it back. You can call back your energy. Taking it away from all of the negativity, taking it away from all the reminiscing, the reading the text, the checking the stories, the driving by to just see if they're in, things like that. You can call back your energy. So imagine yourself literally calling your energy back from that person, those memories, the old conversations. Bring it back. You can even, you can find meditations on YouTube about this, about cutting cords, and calling back your energy from people who frankly don't deserve it. Now's your time to get it back. And you can do, like I say, meditations about this, or you could literally just sit there right now, close your eyes and imagine your energy coming back to you and entering into your body and filling you up. You are coming back particle by particle, vibration by vibration, you are raising. You're coming back. Definitely highly suggest some sort of ritual when it comes to this. Like I say, cord cutting meditation, journaling. Again, of course, I'm always going to say journaling, but also even basic things, deleting all messages, photos, having a clear out, getting rid of that stagnant energy that's keeping you in the past. Get rid of it, letting that shit go and bringing your energy back to you. And again, not easy, very difficult to, what if I get rid of this photo and then we get back together? Yeah, I've been there. What if I get rid of this photo and then it's a beautiful memory and we're back together and I'll want to cherish that. What about all those lovely, the cards that he sent me and all the beautiful words that it was only last year? How could things have changed so much? I don't want to get rid of that. Get rid of it. Trust me. Because again, what we're creating here is our closure, because it's not going to come from that text. It's not going to come from their words, their apologies. It happens when you stop revisiting that door that is actually now closed. It's closed. Stop going back to it. And then finally, it's got to be just choosing peace every single day. No matter what, no matter how we're feeling, whatever we're going through, always trying to recenter ourselves, focus back in on that choosing peace. So step number 5, every single day, choosing peace. Okay, and basically what I'm meaning by that is that closure, it is not a one-time moment. It's not a click your fingers. It's not a wake up this morning and that's it. It's the daily choices. It's those choices and decisions and action steps that you are taking every single day to release, to forgive, and to move forward. Just remember that every single thing that you are doing right now, you are taking aligned action. And how beautiful is that? How peaceful is that? You are choosing peace. You are already doing step number 5, again, by listening to this podcast. Another one that I've not suggested as well, which could be very beneficial, is affirmations, and by that, I've spoken about affirmations before, and I don't want to induce any toxic positivity and forcing things that we don't feel, because I do think there's a lot of detriment to that. But it could be more along the lines of something like, I don't need to understand everything to be at peace. I don't need the answers to feel safe. I release what no longer aligns with me. My peace matters more than their explanation. Just things like that can just further help encourage and reassure you, your mind, your body, your soul, everything. And with that, again, it's those action steps, those decisions, those choices that you're making every day. So for example, every time that you decide not to stalk the page or check their WhatsApp to see when they were last online, stop checking for all these signs, this is you choosing your peace. I want to reiterate that this isn't easy. At the time, you'll be like, oh, I just really want to check. But what if? What if this is the time that I don't check and I should do, What if I don't reach out and then that's the end? All these what ifs. This is when we go back to living in the past. We're revisiting that door that's closed. When you choose to step away from these actions, these thoughts and feelings that are taking over your life and causing you to behave in this way, you're choosing your peace. You are choosing your peace. When you take all of this episode together, just understanding exactly why we crave closure, exactly what's going on in our minds, how we are as human beings and how it's ingrained with us. I've shared a little bit of my personal story, shared the steps of how we can create it for ourselves. this is where we're able to move forward and move into that new chapter. We've made that choice, that decision to move forward, to move on, to let go. And that is so brave. It is really brave to give yourself closure. It's so, so brave. It's one of the most radical acts of self-love that you can do. And I just want to reassure you at this point that letting go, it's not about forgetting, it's not about invalidating the connection, the relationship, forgetting all those beautiful memories, but it means that you're choosing to stop letting this define you, define who you are and the person that you are becoming, the life that you are creating. And that's the thing, this life that you're creating, that new chapter that you're stepping into, it's literally, it's waiting for you right now, and it's so much lighter, it's calmer. It's where you get to meet yourself again and love yourself and love your life. Create this incredible lifestyle full of all these beautiful things and stories and experiences and memories that you are still yet to create. That is waiting for you right now. Just a reminder that you can step into that now. You can make that decision. You can move forward. So definitely highly recommend a little closure ritual. So whether that is writing a letter to your ex-partner that you don't send, that's really, really powerful. Just getting down all of your thoughts, feelings, everything that you wish that you could say to them, but you no longer can. So you could write a letter that you don't send. You can burn a little note of release. Again, any sort of stagnant emotions, any pain that you're holding on to, anything that you just want to let go of, and create a beautiful ritual ceremony of just burning it with so much love. And watching it burn away and that flame rising, the smoke rising. And lastly, I think celebrating that decision to move on and give yourself that closure. Like really celebrating that milestone and that choice that you've made for yourself, because it's so powerful. It is so, so powerful. So be sure to celebrate that. You know, going back to my personal experiences of around closure and being able to give it to myself, I went on to so many beautiful experiences in life. I started a business. I quit the job that I was quite frankly staying with because I was in this hunky-dory marriage and lifestyle and wanted to have a baby, so I needed my NHS maternity and all that. You know, I quit that job. I hated it. I moved abroad. I lived in Bali for 9 months. I would never have had any of this. And yeah, I've come home, maybe had to move back at my mum's, had a little bit of a step back, but all for a divine reason. I'm now on a life's mission and purpose to bring other women together, to heal together, to overcome the pain of divorce, the pain and hurt of a relationship breakdown, the rejection, the knock in your confidence, your self-worth, all of that. I am guiding women through some of the most traumatic experiences of their lives and bringing them up, helping them rise and come back bigger, better, stronger, creating beautiful lives for themselves. I'm so blessed. Even just starting this podcast, none of this would have happened. Creating women's community meetups. The path that I am now on, I wouldn't change for the world, but I only have that because I chose to give myself that closure. Totally forgetting the fact of going down this whole growth and self-development and spiritual path. I wasn't on that at all before. 5.5 years ago, I was not on that path of spirituality, of growth, of development, being open-minded, positivity, all of that. In fact, I dread to think what I was like back then. In fact, I don't think I'd recognise the person that I was back then. I know I wouldn't. We're completely different people, like polar opposites now. which is why I know that actually me and my ex-husband, if we were to meet now, we would certainly not be a match. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he's grown as well, but I just know that from what I knew of him, oh my gosh, he was so negative, so easily stressed and wound up, struggled to handle his emotions, nothing was ever good enough, just really no gratitude, just the complete opposite of what I am. Giving myself closure opened up this whole new chapter, and for that I'm so eternally grateful. And I want that for you as well. You know, some of the clients that I'm working with, I've been speaking to so many, and as I said at the start of the podcast, it is a recurring theme that people are seeking closure. My one-to-one clients, one of them in particular, she told me she would never go back to her ex. She would not want that relationship anymore. Even if this guy turned up at her door begging for her back, had all these beautiful gifts, flowers, whatever, did everything that he could to win her back, she wouldn't want him. I'm like, is that not closure enough? That you wouldn't go back there? Another client of mine, she is waiting for the closure of her divorce being finalised, and her ex is dragging his feet, is taking ages, he's kind of seeing someone else. And all she wants is that divorce to go through, because then she can start her new life, start her new chapter. It's done. That's it. Line in the sand moment. When I questioned her what difference it makes that he signs this piece of paper, it's just that she will feel the closure and she will feel that it's done. Well, if that's what she wants to feel, then she can give herself that now. Him signing a piece of paper is life admin, we've decided. That's what we decided on the class, life admin. But she can give herself the closure now. She wants to feel into her new chapter, to have that, this marriage is done, I am out, it's over. Him signing a piece of paper makes no difference to how she chooses to feel, how she chooses to create her own closure. So, you know, what's your story? What are you waiting for? How are you wanting to feel from the closure that you are seeking, from the answer, from them signing the papers, from him moving out, whatever it may be? I don't know. We all have our different ways in which we are wanting the closure, but what is it for you? And then really question, what are you hoping to feel from that? And then create it yourself. You can do that. I promise you can do that. Closure isn't something that they give you, it is something that you decide. And so if you're listening to this today and still waiting for that message, that conversation, then let this be a sign that you can set yourself free today. And I am giving you full permission to set yourself free today. No one has the power to close this story for you. You are the author of your own story, and you can create that. Oh, what a beautiful episode, if I do say so myself. I absolutely love this just because I know that it's something that resonates with so many of you. So please, if this episode did resonate with you, pull on your heartstrings, give you that light bulb moment, give you that sense of freedom. I would honestly, truly love to hear from you. Please drop a comment. Share on your stories. Let me know that you've been listening. You can message me directly on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Share your biggest takeaway with me. I honestly love hearing from you and how all of these conversations landed with you as well. And if you know of a friend, family member, colleague, anyone who would benefit from this discussion today, please be sure to send it on to them as well. This podcast, this movement, everything, it is about all of us coming together. Together we can heal. You know, the stories that I share, the stories that you share, the stories that our friends and family, we all share, we can come together and we can relate to each other, and there's a power in that. So be sure to spread the love by helping someone else on their journey and sending this episode to them as well. But until next time, I will leave it there for today. Remember, I am always in your corner. I am always rooting for you. And I am so, so proud of you simply for listening to this episode. But also, if you do choose to go ahead, create your own closure, take these action steps, just know that you are onto something incredible, and I can't wait to see what comes next for you. I love you all so, so much. Have a beautiful day, beautiful week, and I will chat with you more on the next episode. Lots and lots of love.